Hi everybody, it is Christina and Cindy, and welcome to episode 8 of Rolling with Ruby, where we discuss caregiver tips and tricks for caring for their loved ones, as well as for individuals who desire to stay safely in their homes. Today on Rolling with Ruby, we are going to be talking about 4 tips to improve safety in the bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah. So Cindy is a physical therapist. I'm a speech therapist, and we make videos to show people how to use products safely, how to help caregivers and individuals age safely in place. And we'd love it if you would join our YouTube channel. We have a great community growing over there. Just subscribe; it's free, or find our website at aecorner.com. So let's go ahead and dive into it. You ready, Sim?
Yes.
All right. So 4 tips for improving safety in the bedroom. Tip number 1 is check the bed height.
Yes. Always check the bed height. So bed height can be an obstacle a lot of times. Most of the time it is too high. We have these box springs now that are 6 inches, 8 inches.
Right. It's like pole vaulting into your bed sometimes.
Yes. Mattresses are really high. So usually what I try to do is I would like to bring the bed down to my client if
That's
possible.
your first choice. That's your first preference.
First preference.
As a physical therapist.
Yes.
Is to bring the bed down.
Yes, the bed height down. So
Okay.
I want to take a look at the legs. I want to take a look at the frame and see if that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will have you can take the box spring and mattress off of the frame. Now, most of the time, if you set that all the way to the floor, it's typically for most people too short then.
Yeah.
So I did have
the way we used to do in college.
Yes, exactly. I did have a client's son bring her mattress and box spring off the frame and put it on 4x4 deck posts, which worked very well. That was a great height. Really made it more accessible for her.
So the box springs and the mattress, bringing it up just those 4 inches from because of the deck posts.
Yep.
That 4 inches made such a difference for them.
Yes, from the floor. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that was a good save for her. Now, if you cannot figure out a way, the other thing I wanted to mention is if you are in the market for a new mattress, I always suggest to have them, especially if your bed has been too high, to special order a 4-inch box spring, because
like
they are
low profile box spring.
They are able to do that, and now they may have those in stock. I don't know for sure. It's been a while, but I know that I've done that before, just because the height is too tall.
Yeah.
But if you cannot bring the bed down, then the second option is to bring the person up to the bed. Now, how do we do that? So we're going to need some type of a step. I've seen many steps, those little plastic, whatever,
like
8-inch tall steps.
Yeah, the little kitchen steps or whatever.
Yeah, so that's a no.
Stools, yeah, big no.
That's a big no. Those tip very easily. That step height is pretty tall. So usually what I like to recommend is actually using an aerobic step. The one that you use for exercising. Yeah,
because they're nice and wide.
Yep.
And usually they're rubberized on top for anti-skid.
Yep. And the other thing I like about them is they usually have a couple of levels of adjustment in height. So you can make that difference just by adding a couple of things underneath them. They're nice and they're long, they're wide.
Yeah.
I like the length of it because when somebody brings their legs off the bed, I don't want them to have to search around with their feet to try to find that step.
And they're stable because they're long and wide. They're more stable than those little kitchen step stools, which tend to be a little tippy.
Right. And then along with that aerobic step, I like to add now we used to call them bed rail, but sometimes that gets confusing because people think a bed rail goes along the length of the bed, which is true in some cases. So we call them bed canes now.
Gotcha.
They're just the little rail that's about 12 inches wide.
Yeah.
Some of them are less than that, but just something for handhold, and that usually does a really good job, just allowing a handhold to step up. And then when people use those, they're actually kind of amazed at how useful they are in helping them sit up from a laying down position or lay down.
Yeah. And some of them come with little pockets now, so you can put your cell phone, a magazine, something at bedside. But they've got those bed canes, and they've got like a piece that attaches to it that slides in between the mattress and the box springs.
Yes.
And then it has a strap that goes through and connects to the bed.
To the frame.
Yeah, to the frame, yeah.
Yes. And you want that. Now, there are some that don't have the strap, but you do want that.
We recommend that.
Yes, we do recommend that because if, let's say, you have somebody that's coming up with a walker or even in a wheelchair that they're able to take that little step up, if you pull from that bed rail, or if you have to pull with much force from that bed rail while you're stepping up, it may pull out.
Gotcha.
Or it may give a little bit.
Yeah.
So we want that strap to be able to secure that really tight so that it doesn't matter which
Provide
direction.
a little stability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. For those of you that may be joining us a little bit later on in this Rolling with Ruby episode, Cindy and Christina.
Yep.
Cindy's a physical therapist. I'm a speech therapist, and we talk about tricks and tips for caregivers to help provide safe care for themselves and their loved ones, and for individuals that are looking to stay safe at home. And we are on tip number 2 for ways to improve safety in the bedroom. And tip number 2 is to talk about or look into lighting in the bedroom.
Yes. So lighting is always a big deal. Doesn't matter what part of the house, but lighting is a big deal, especially in the bedroom at night.
Yeah.
Christina, a lot of people don't like to have the lights on because then they can't go back to sleep and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's very important, especially, when you're trying to get to the bathroom.
Yes.
Or when you're trying to get in bed. I have some people that have a light switch that is across the room. They shut the light off and walk in the dark to get into bed.
Yeah.
So that really increases fall risk.
Yeah. Or what if somebody has to get up to take medication
Right.
at the night, in the middle of the night.
So we have several options.
Yeah.
Some of the options we do, actually, we set up the smart lights, Christina, through the Illinois Assistive Technology Program. We set up smart lights with Alexa.
Yes. Those are always really nice.
Yeah.
Then all you have to do is tell Alexa to turn on the bedroom lights, and then you could, make your way to the bathroom or whatever you're doing, and then when you come back, just tell her to turn the lights off.
Right. So you just can be in bed when you're doing that, which is the big bonus.
And you could even decrease it so that it's like 30%, so that it's not 100% brightness. So that way when she turns on the night light, you could just have her turn it on to 30%. So
right.
Consider.
And then there's a lot of people that have a light by their bed, like on a nightstand or something.
Yeah.
And one thing that I like to point out to people on that is this: that light really needs to be close to you when you are laying in bed, because if you're, depending on what side you're laying on, a lot of people want to turn that light on and off, especially if it's a switch, with their dominant hand.
All right,
and if you think about it, if you're laying in bed and you're right-handed, but the light is over on the left side, most people are going to roll that way to reach the light. And if you'd be surprised at how many clients I've had actually roll right out of bed trying to reach their light.
Isn't that something?
So in that instance, we suggest that, of course, bringing that light closer and maybe making it a touch on and off base, rather than a switch.
Yeah.
Which makes it much easier. You're not reaching as far, but that really needs to be well within reach. While you're, my preference is while you're laying on your back, or well within the bed, not on the edge of the bed, trying to get to that.
Yeah.
And
that's
then,
a great idea, the touch light.
Yeah, so I really like those.
Or something like the clapper. Remember those?
Yes.
The clapper and the clap on, clap off. Do they still make those anymore?
I don't know. I could probably sing that whole commercial though, because it's just clap on, clap off.
I know, but man, that would be that'd be perfect, wouldn't it? If you didn't want to use an Alexa or some kind of a personal assistant like that. So
yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it, but sometimes you could have just your remote control little switches. You're on off. Get a remote control light. That would be awesome too.
Yeah. Just like the little switches that click on and off.
Yeah. That's
a good idea too.
Yep. And then one other suggestion that we always make in the bedroom, especially for nighttime, is some type of nightlight motion sensor system that will light that path to the bathroom. Now, a lot of times people will say, well, I don't want to do that because then every time I roll over, it's going to turn the light on. And so what we suggest is actually putting a freestanding battery-operated light sensor. And one of the ones we recommend is called Mr. Bean's.
It's freestanding and motion sensor, battery powered.
And then you can put that on the floor. They also have little ones that will stick, and you can kind of stick that. Sometimes I have people, they'll stick it on the bed frame down close. But when your feet come off the bed, that's what's going to trigger that motion sensor light and give you a nice light pattern right there at your feet. And then of course
it clicks off after after a while. A few seconds.
Then you want to also put some along the path to the bathroom, and of course have some kind of night light in the bathroom. You know. Oh, which brings me to my favorite subject, which I almost forgot about. Is the toilet bowl night light.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about it. She loves
I love it.
The toilet bowl light.
See, it makes me happy.
It does, I know.
You know, it turns 13 different colors.
At least.
You can color it for the season.
Yes.
And it just, makes me smile every time I go into the bathroom at night and the light comes on and it's green right now. And so the toilet bowl light, it doesn't wake you up necessarily, but it sure gives you a sense of where the toilet is and where you're supposed to be.
It gives you a goal, doesn't it?
That's right.
Something to aim for. Love it.
So love the toilet bowl light.
Okay. All right. So it's Cindy and Christina with Adaptive Equipment and Caregiving Corner. We are talking about tips and tricks and ways to keep yourself or your loved one safe in the bedroom. So we are on tip number 3, which is to check the pathways to the bathroom.
Yes, that is a major one.
Yes.
So you always want a very clear pathway. You want to make sure that if you need to move furniture, let's say your loved one's on a walker, you got to have a wide enough space that walker gets in there very easily. Especially at night. You want to make sure there's no cords. You don't really want any throw rugs or things like that in the pathway.
Right.
And then especially none with some type of assistive device. Like a walker or a cane, nothing at all.
It needs to be wide enough to accommodate, if you have a mobility device.
Right.
It needs to be wide enough to accommodate like a walker or a wheelchair. The pathway does.
Right, and we don't, like I said, don't want any of those throw rugs or anything in that pathway on the way to the bathroom. Pathway is and in cords. You got to watch cords. You got to watch clothes and pet toys and anything at all. That might impede that
and the thing for me, Sin, is when we tell people that is we're not talking about making sure that your bedroom is 100% clutter-free everywhere. We're talking the pathway.
Yes.
So if you need to move the bed around, which is its own issue sometimes. I mean, because you got a certain way you want your bedroom, right? You want your bed over here. But sometimes it might make sense for your loved one to have the bed in a different place.
Right.
So you might want to take that into consideration, that furniture might need to be moved.
Yes.
And clutter for sure has to be moved when it comes to the pathway.
Yeah. And that's a good point, Christina, because a lot of times that's true. People kind of they're used to their bed being where it's been for years.
That's right.
But sometimes we need to make that pathway a little bit shorter. If they're on the opposite side of the room and they're getting out and they got to come around the bed and through furniture and everything else, we may need to try to consider, is there another position that we could put that bed in?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so moving on. Now, if you are coming in at the end of this podcast, Rolling in with Ruby, episode 8, where we're talking about tips and tricks for caregivers to keep their loved ones safe and improve safety in the bedroom, and for individuals who are looking to stay safe in the bedroom or living at home. We are on tip number 4 out of 4. And tip number 4 is to discuss possible incontinence issues.
Yes. This is a big thing, especially at night. So if we think about it, the more often we get up, the more often we take those trips to the bathroom at night, the higher our fall risk.
Yeah.
Even if we've, checked all those boxes with the lights and the pathways and everything, still at night when we've been sleeping, we wake up. If there's any urgency at all, then that is increasing our fall risk.
Yeah.
So, Christina, we talk about incontinence products. If you are to the point that you need that type of product, we still have a lot of people that get up during the night to change, to have to clean up if they've wet through.
Yeah.
So that is a huge issue, and something that we've actually learned from one of the products that we deal with, Cindy, is that you really should not have to be doing that. An incontinence product that is right for you should be able to hold you through the night without having to get up and change that.
Absolutely.
But it all depends on whether you have the right fit and the right absorbency and the right style.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's kind of go back to what you said about urgency. So if we maybe we're not quite there as far as needing some kind of an incontinence product, but the urgency is there, and we can, maybe we can't make it to the bathroom, but maybe we can make it to a bedside commode. Talk to us about a bedside commode.
Yes. So I've recommended that a lot of times for clients throughout my career. It just, again, we are talking about fall risk and trying to avoid that at all costs. We've used bedside commodes. Now, a lot of times, if you are functioning, Medicare or your insurance company won't necessarily pay for that, because that's a whole thing of having to be room bound.
Right.
But like we talked before, Christina, there are resources for that.
That's right.
You want to tell them about some of the resources?
If you have maybe a local lending closet that takes and collects gently used medical equipment or devices like a bedside commode, find them, give them a call, see if they've got any bedside commodes that you could borrow. They will loan them out to you for free or a low charge. Right. And that could be something that whenever you're done using it, that you could give it back to them. So that would be something to consider, kind of a try it before you buy it, because a lot of those things, Cindy, they don't, insurance doesn't pay for it. Right. And if you purchase it online, because it's a hygiene issue, they won't let you return it. Right. So now you've got this product that might not work for you. So, try to find a lending closet. Check and find out. You could go to our resource page on aecorner.com/resources. And we have a listing. We have 3 directories on our resource page, and one of them is the National Directory for Assistive Technology Programs. Every state has an AT program, so you could go there, find who your AT program is, and see if they have a reuse program that would let you borrow a bedside commode for a few weeks. Something to try.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, oh, I don't need that, but again, we talk about, if you're not quite making it to the bathroom, or if you're having to sprint to the bathroom, it's so dangerous.
Yeah,
it's so dangerous.
It increases your fall risk.
Yeah. So we definitely recommend that as another option.
Absolutely. Well, Cindy, this has been very interesting. I think this is always a great topic to talk about. Right. So Cindy and I, we probably give this speech, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah. So we thought it'd be a good thing to put on this episode of Rolling with Ruby, episode 8. And again, Cindy and I are the rehabilitation therapists with Adaptive Equipment and Caregiving Corner. And we like to talk about things, tips and tricks for caregivers to keep themselves safe and their loved ones safe during daily care. We also like to provide information for individuals who desire to age safely in place or stay safe in their home. So this has been Christina and Cindy with Rolling with Ruby, and we will talk to you later. See you on the next video.